pockets, so stick around, this is going to be interesting. So first up, let's talk about Elon Musk. You know, the guy behind Tesla, SpaceX, and now X. When Elon sets his sights on something, he doesn't really do things by halves. And with Neuralink, he's aiming to fundamentally change how we interact with technology, potentially making devices like smartphones completely redundant. The core idea here is the brain-computer interface, or BCI. It sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, and honestly, it kind of is. Neuralink is developing ultra-high bandwidth brain-machine interfaces to connect humans and computers. Imagine, instead of typing on a tiny keyboard or swiping on a screen, you could control your devices, communicate, or access information just by thinking. That's the promise. The company has been working on implantable chips, smaller than a coin, that would be surgically placed in the brain. These chips are designed with thousands of electrodes capable of reading and potentially stimulating brain activity. The initial focus for Neuralink has been on medical applications, which makes a lot of sense. They're aiming to help people with severe paralysis regain control and communication. We've already seen some pretty incredible demonstrations, and as of early 2024, they've successfully implanted their device in a human for the first time as part of their PRIME study. This first human patient is reportedly recovering well and able to control a computer mouse using their thoughts. This is a huge step. If you can control a mouse, the gateway to controlling almost any digital interface is open. From there, it's not a massive leap to imagine a future where you're composing an email, sending a message, or even browsing the web, all without lifting a finger. The smartphone, in this scenario, becomes an unnecessary intermediary. Why would you need a physical device when the interface is directly in your mind? Musk himself has been quite vocal about the long-term vision. He sees BCIs not just as a replacement for current tech, but as a way to augment human intelligence to allow us to keep pace with artificial intelligence. It's a bold, and for some, a slightly unsettling vision. The idea of merging with AI to avoid being left behind is a pretty profound one. And it goes far beyond just not needing a smartphone anymore. Of course, we are still in the very early days. The technology is incredibly complex, the ethical considerations are massive, and the idea of elective brain surgery for the general public to replace their iPhone is, let's say, a significant hurdle. There are questions about data privacy. Who owns your brain data? Security, and the potential for misuse. These are not trivial concerns and will need to be addressed very carefully, but the potential is undeniable. For individuals with disabilities, this could be life-changing, offering new levels of independence and interaction. And if the technology matures, becomes safer, less invasive, and more accessible, then the way we all interact with the digital world could be completely transformed. The very concept of a device might change. Think about the seamlessness. No more fumbling for your phone, no more cracked screens, no more worrying about battery life in the same way. Information could be accessed and actions initiated as quickly as you can form a thought. This is the future Neuralink is working towards. A future where the smartphone is a relic of a less connected, less immediate past. The journey from here to there is long and filled with challenges, both technical and societal. Regulatory approvals for widespread use will be a massive undertaking, requiring extensive safety and efficacy data. Public perception and acceptance will also play a crucial role. It's one thing to use a device you hold in your hand, it's another entirely to have one integrated with your brain. But Musk's track record shows a persistence in tackling incredibly ambitious projects. If anyone is likely to push the boundaries of what's considered possible in this space, it's him. The implications for accessibility are profound, potentially allowing individuals with severe motor impairments to communicate and interact with the world in ways previously unimaginable. Consider the speed and efficiency. The bandwidth of thought is theoretically much higher than that of typing or speaking. If Neuralink can tap into this, our interaction with digital systems could become orders of magnitude faster. This isn't just about replacing smartphones, it's about creating an entirely new paradigm of human-computer interaction. So, while your next phone upgrade probably won't involve a brain implant, The work being done at Neuralink is a powerful indicator of one possible, albeit radical, direction away from handheld devices. It's a future where the interface is you. It's a long shot for the near term for sure, but it's a vision that makes the current smartphone look almost quaint by comparison. Alright, now let's shift gears and talk about another tech titan, Bill Gates. While he's heavily focused on philanthropy these days through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, he still keeps a keen eye on emerging technologies. And one area that has reportedly caught his interest, or at least aligns with directions he's supported, is electronic tattoos. This isn't about the ink your cousin got on a dare. We're talking about ultra-thin, flexible electronic circuits that can be applied to your skin like a temporary tattoo. The company often associated with pioneering this tech is Chaotic Moon Studios, later acquired by Accenture, which developed tech tats a few years back. These aren't just for show. The idea is to embed sensors and microprocessors into these skin-mounted devices to collect and transmit data. Think of it as the ultimate wearable, something that truly becomes a part of you, at least temporarily. What can these electronic tattoos do? Well, the primary application that gets a lot of attention is health monitoring. Imagine a tattoo that continuously tracks your vital signs, heart rate, body temperature, hydration levels, maybe even blood glucose or exposure to UV radiation. This data could be sent wirelessly to your, well, perhaps not your smartphone, but to another device or directly to your doctor. This has huge implications for preventative medicine and managing chronic conditions. Instead of periodic checkups, you'd have a constant stream of biometric data, allowing for early detection of problems and personalized health advice. Bill Gates has, through his foundation, funded various health tech initiatives, and a non-invasive, persistent monitoring system like this aligns well with goals of improving global health outcomes. Beyond health, these electronic tattoos could have other functionalities. GPS tracking is one possibility. While that raises obvious privacy concerns, it could also be useful for personal safety or for specific professional applications. Data transfer is another key aspect. Your tattoo could potentially store information, act as a payment method, or even serve as an authentication key, replacing passwords or access cards. Imagine tapping your arm to make a payment, or your hand to unlock your door. It sounds futuristic, but the underlying technology, near-field communication, NFC, flexible electronics, and biocompatible materials is all advancing rapidly. This is a step beyond smartwatches or fitness trackers, which are still separate devices you wear. An electronic tattoo aims for more seamless integration. The challenges, of course, are there. Powering these devices is a big one. How do you keep an electronic tattoo running without a bulky battery? Researchers are exploring things like harvesting energy from body heat or motion, or using thin-film batteries. Durability is another concern. How long can such a tattoo last on the skin through showers, sweat, and daily wear and tear? And then there's the data itself. Who controls it? How is it secured? If your tattoo is constantly collecting sensitive health information or location data, the potential for misuse is significant. These are questions that need robust answers before such technology could become mainstream. Public acceptance will also depend on how comfortable people are with having electronics, however thin, adhered to their bodies. But the vision is compelling. It's a move towards ambient computing, where technology fades into the background, becoming less obtrusive and more integrated with our physical selves. Instead of actively engaging with a device, the technology works passively, collecting information or providing functionality as needed. This could, in theory, reduce our reliance on constantly checking a smartphone screen. If critical information or notifications could be subtly conveyed through a haptic buzz from a tattoo, or if health data is automatically logged and analyzed without you needing to open an app, then the smartphone's role as the central hub for all these tasks diminishes. It's about distributing the functions of a smartphone across different, more integrated interfaces. This isn't necessarily about a direct one-to-one replacement for every single thing your smartphone does. But for key functions like health tracking, payments, and simple notifications, electronic tattoos offer a glimpse of a more integrated, less device-centric future. It's a subtle but potentially powerful shift in how we interact with digital information and services. The development in flexible electronics and biocompatible materials is crucial here. We're seeing advancements that allow circuits to stretch and bend with the skin, making them more comfortable and durable for long-term wear. This is a far cry from rigid circuit boards and opens up a whole new realm of possibilities for on-body tech. Bill Gates' interest in health solutions makes this a particularly relevant area for his focus. Next up we have Mark Zuckerberg and Meta. If you've paid any attention to Meta, formerly Facebook, over the past few years, you know their big bet is on the metaverse. And the gateway to Zuckerberg's vision of the metaverse, the device he believes will eventually replace the smartphone, is augmented reality, AR, glasses. He's been pretty explicit about this, aiming for AR glasses to become a mainstream computing platform. Zuckerberg has stated that he believes by the 2030s, people will be accessing the metaverse and their digital lives primarily through advanced AR glasses, not through the phones in their pockets. This is a massive undertaking, requiring breakthroughs in optics, battery life, processing power, and, crucially, social acceptability. But Meta is investing billions of dollars a year into its Reality Labs division to make this happen. So what would this look like? Imagine wearing a pair of glasses that look relatively normal, but can overlay digital information directly onto your view of the real world. You could see navigation prompts floating in front of you as you walk, messages from friends appearing subtly in your peripheral vision, or even virtual screens for work or entertainment. This is the promise of AR. Unlike virtual reality (VR), which completely immerses you in a digital world, like with Meta's Quest headsets, Arkansas enhances the world around you. The idea is that you wouldn't need to pull out your phone to check directions, read a text, or identify a plant. That information would just be there, seamlessly integrated into your vision. This is a fundamental shift from looking at a screen to looking at a digitally enhanced world. Meta has already released products like the Ray-Ban Stories, smart glasses co-developed with EssilorLuxottica, which have cameras and audio but no visual display. These are seen as early stepping stones, helping to normalize wearable tech on your face and gather data on usage patterns. The real goal is full AR, with persistent, high-fidelity holographic displays. Their Project Nazar is the code name for their dedicated AR glasses research. The potential use cases are vast. For social interaction, you could see someone's name and relevant info appear as you meet them, or have more immersive video calls where it feels like the person is in the room with you. For productivity, you could have multiple virtual monitors set up anywhere, without needing physical screens. For gaming and entertainment, the possibilities for interactive experiences in your real environment are huge. However, the technological hurdles are immense. Packing the necessary processing power, battery, cameras, sensors, and a high-quality display system into a lightweight, comfortable, and socially acceptable form factor is incredibly difficult. Early AR prototypes have often been bulky, with limited field of view or short battery life. This is where a lot of Meta's R&D budget is going. Then there's the killer app question. What will be the compelling reason for millions of people to switch from smartphones to AR glasses? The metaverse is Meta's answer, but it's still a somewhat nebulous concept for many. Building out the ecosystem of apps and experiences that make AR glasses indispensable will be just as important as building the hardware itself. Privacy is another major concern, perhaps even more so than with smartphones. If AR glasses are constantly seeing what you see and potentially recording it, the implications for personal privacy and surveillance are significant. Meta, given its history with data privacy, faces an uphill battle in convincing users to trust them with this even more intimate form of technology. Zuckerberg's vision is that these AR glasses won't just be an accessory to your phone. They will your primary computing device. You'd interact with them through voice commands, hand gestures, or perhaps even eye tracking. The smartphone, in this future, might become a secondary device. Or perhaps its functionality will be entirely subsumed by the glasses and cloud computing. The 2030s timeline is ambitious, but it reflects the scale of the challenge and the long-term nature of Meta's bet. It's not just about creating a new product category, it's about trying to define the next era of computing, much like the PC did, and then the smartphone. If they succeed, our interaction with the digital world would become far more integrated with our physical presence. Think about the implications for how we learn, work, and play. Educational content could be overlaid onto real-world objects. Complex repair tasks could be guided by AR instructions. Immersive games could transform our living rooms into fantasy worlds. It's a future where the boundary between digital and physical blurs significantly, all mediated through a pair of glasses. This is the smartphone replacement Meta is banking on. So, we've heard some pretty radical visions for what might replace the smartphone, from brain implants to AR glasses. But now, let's turn to Apple and its CEO, Tim Cook. Apple, more than any other company, the smartphone company, at least in terms of defining the modern smartphone era with the iPhone, and their perspective on the future is, perhaps unsurprisingly, a bit more grounded, more evolutionary than revolutionary. Tim Cook hasn't been out there predicting the imminent demise of the iPhone. Instead, his public statements and Apple's product strategy suggest a belief in the continued relevance and potential of the smartphone form factor. He famously said, "We want to make what people are already using even better." This philosophy emphasizes iteration, refinement, and enhancing the core experience rather than completely upending it. This doesn't mean Apple isn't exploring new frontiers. They absolutely are. The Apple Watch is a hugely successful wearable that offloads some smartphone functions to your wrist. And then there's the Apple Vision Pro, their spatial computer, which blends digital content with your physical world. This is clearly a big step into AR/VR, but even Apple positions it, at least initially, as a new category of device that works your iPhone and Mac, not necessarily as an immediate iPhone killer. Apple's strength lies in its ecosystem. The iPhone, iPad, Mac, Apple Watch, and services like iCloud, Apple Music, and the App Store all work together seamlessly. This ecosystem is incredibly sticky and provides a powerful platform for introducing new technologies and experiences. Apple tends to integrate new capabilities like AR through ARKit into its existing platforms, allowing developers and users to gradually adopt them. So when Apple thinks about the future, it's likely less about a single device replacing the iPhone overnight, and more about how the iPhone itself will evolve and how other devices like the Vision Pro or future wearables will augment and extend its capabilities. The iPhone could become even more central, perhaps acting as the processing hub for a suite of connected, more specialized devices. Consider the advancements we still see with each iPhone iteration: better cameras, faster processors, improved displays, new sensors. Apple is constantly pushing the boundaries of what a handheld device can do. They might explore new form factors like foldable phones, though they've been cautious here, or integrate more advanced AI capabilities directly into iOS to make the iPhone even more intuitive and proactive. Tim Cook's approach seems to be about deeply understanding how people use their technology today, and then finding ways to improve that experience. It's a user-centric approach that has served Apple very well. They don't often chase the next big thing just because it's new. They wait, they refine, and they aim to deliver a polished, integrated experience when they do enter a new market or introduce a major change. So, while Musk is aiming for your brain and Zuckerberg for your face, Cook seems focused on perfecting the device in your hand and on your wrist. And now, with Vision Pro, what's in front of your eyes, but as part of a cohesive system. The death of the smartphone, from Apple's perspective, might not be a sudden event, but a gradual transformation where its core functionalities become even more deeply embedded and perhaps distributed across multiple touchpoints. The iPhone of 2030 or 2035 might look and feel very different from today's model. It could be thinner, lighter, more powerful, with an all-screen display that's even more immersive. It might have new ways of interacting, perhaps through more advanced haptics or even gesture controls that don't require touching the screen. But the core concept of a personal, portable, powerful computing and communication device is likely to endure in Apple's vision. Apple's focus on privacy and security is also a key differentiator. As technology becomes more personal and integrated, trust is paramount. Apple has made this a cornerstone of its brand, and that will likely continue to shape how they approach new technologies, whether it's AR or on-device AI. This careful, deliberate approach contrasts with the more move fast and break things ethos seen elsewhere. So, for Tim Cook and Apple, the picture is indeed still being painted. The smartphone isn't a finished canvas. There are still many innovations to come, many ways to make it better, more useful, and more indispensable. It's a vision of continuous improvement and thoughtful expansion, rather than a complete tear down and rebuild of how we interact with technology. This doesn't mean they're ignoring the shifts. The Vision Pro is a clear indication that Apple sees a future beyond just the handheld screen. But their path to that future seems to be about building bridges from the present, leveraging the strength of their current ecosystem, rather than burning it down to start anew. It's a pragmatic, yet still ambitious, approach to what comes next. Alright, so we've looked at some pretty wild and varied visions for what comes after the smartphone. You've got Elon Musk basically saying, let's plug directly into the brain, Bill Gates, or at least tech he's associated with, suggesting tech tattoos that make your skin the interface, Mark Zuckerberg betting big on AR glasses to overlay our reality, and then Tim Cook and Apple essentially saying, hey, this thing in your pocket, it's still got a lot of life left in it and we're gonna keep making it better, alongside new experiences like Vision Pro. So, what does this all mean for that device you're probably watching this on, or that's sitting right next to you? Well, the death of the smartphone makes for a great headline, but the reality is probably going to be a lot more nuanced. It's less likely to be a sudden extinction event and more of an evolution, maybe even a divergence. Some of these futuristic ideas like Neuralink are still very, very early. Others, like AR glasses, are closer but still face huge technical and social hurdles before they could truly replace something as versatile and ingrained as the smartphone. For now, and for the foreseeable future, the smartphone is likely to remain central, but its role might change. It could become the hub that powers other, more specialized interfaces, your glasses, your watch, maybe even those tech tats. Or, the smartphone itself will continue to morph, incorporating some of these new interaction paradigms. What's clear is that the way we interact with technology is constantly changing, and these tech leaders are all trying to write the next chapter. It's going to be fascinating to watch which of these bets pay off, and how our digital lives will look in 10, 20 years.